welcome to another video. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day today. I am with a loss. Beautiful day, beautiful day. Today was a listenable day. We had this is my first time ever encountering two setups per session, which that's how we took a loss, right? I thought, okay, we have our first setup was right over here. I can't take this because the RR is very off here. I mean, the RR wasn't to the take profit wasn't off. Yeah, you offered the 2 RR, right? You offered the right amount of RR. I thought that okay, I'm looking into the threshold. Market never offered me the threshold, so okay, let me take this trade right over here. From this, I took a short, right? Market gave us SMT diversion to call it a pair, which was GU. GU took out the high while EU didn't, and eventually we had SMT here. So I was like, okay, this SMT. I could take this model 1 over here. I took the model 1 entry here, stop loss right over here, and take profit 1 and 2 over here, right? Eventually, you can see this one won a loss, and eventually they went down, right? And the reason why I did that, quick little insight to the future, is because we already had a setup, right? This is our initial setup. So this once this is why you guys face, I had my client yesterday where he told me the same thing as this what happened today. He would enter the trade, right? He would enter the trade here, right? He'll go up, you enter the trade, he get stopped out and go right back lower, right? There's reason to it, right? Because he said that, but he said like my setups happen around like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., right? 8 a.m. is when my setups happen, right? I think I have heard like many clients say this, right? Other one says, oh, I have my setup all around here. Eventually, I enter this short and eventually market stops me out and goes lower, right? That's because the reason this one setup failed is because your entry is supposed to be all over here already here, right? So you entered on a manipulation, right? Where the market, after getting your first setup, any move after that when the market offers you a setup will be a manipulation, which unfortunately today we got caught on to. But that's another day. Now this, sharpens our edge even more here, right? But let's go to our top down analysis while we're looking for ourselves here. And you can see Boz was correct. The draw market did get met here. Now let's look to the higher time frame. We're gonna start with the weekly, right? Weekly ERL to IRL, weekly sear to the downside, another weekly sear to the downside, as well as we have a daily classic expression profile 2 to the downside, Monday high of the week, right? So looking for a classic expression profile 2 to the downside here. Monday high is protected as well as SMT. We had another SMT series to the downside, but we had a SMT protecting his Wednesday low. So our take profit would have not been here since it's protected. So next week it will highly likely get unprotected because what I'm saying it's gonna get unprotected because these SMTs are very short form, right? Short term. And as well after that, what do we have here? We have a daily ERL to IRL. Premium ERL to IRL, as well. We'll have a daily series to the downside, which will highlight the game at next week, not this week, probably, right? So now if we go to a lower time for the market narrative looking now, if we go to a lower time for the market narrative and context, we had a daily range here. Premium daily got tapped, and then with the range low. As well, I have a 4-hour CRT, which was the SMT, so the CRT low is protected until next week. So that's why when I went for this, my take profit, it would have not worked out because this low is protected here, right? We had SMT with DXY. See right here, SMT diverge with DXY here. Now, eventually, with that SMT, it prevents it from this, kind of getting soup. So, that's why we couldn't take it, right? So, if we... excuse me on that. What else we had? We had another 4-hour range, which this 4-hour range could have gone out to take profit, which I would have not gone for it because it's it's Friday, so it's probably gonna get disrespected here as well, right? And it's probably not gonna get mad because there's like this is equal lows around here. There's an equal low here, right? Although this low and this low doesn't have S&P divergence, see the quality pair here. There is no S&P divergence with this, between these two quality pairs, but they're equally here. So this low is highlight because if it goes below this low, it's highlight to go below this low, right? These lows, the market's not gonna go down here, so this low is protected as well. So market was not gonna go down here. So our initial take profit would have been just to this break-even point, and eventually that would have been our only take profit that we'd have had, right? So as well, we had a OT here, market pressure at a high, I mean, we had a high, low, higher, high, lower, low. We had OT here. Market tapped the OT, then look short from there on forward. That's why the market went lower, then eventually went up higher. Made sense, right? So now our key level was many things here. This fair value gap as well as this auto block. And that's what we have for our market context. As well, we had a bearish order flow. How's the order flow bearish? There's the last low that tapped out of key level. So the order flow was bearish. You can see how the market is just above the high, broke below the low. So the order flow was bearish as well. So now if you go to the lower time frame, to the hourly time frame, the CRT that we're using the CRT that we're using to execute, we had our 6 a.m. as our CRT. Today had a CRT got soup. Then we're going to CRT low as well. We had another that 7 a.m. had a with the 8 a.m. SMT. So the 8 a.m. is the one we took, which we should have not been the one we took, right? So the 7 a.m. had SMT with the 6 a.m. The 7 a.m. had a 7 a.m. purchase of the 6 a.m. candle. They eventually had the Model 1 in the 5-minute time frame. You can see Model 1 happened right before the candle closed. Market tapped the Model 1. Eventually, you can see it take profit. But we got caught on the trap of, the manipulation. As I said, as I said before, I started the video. Well, the market will do if you miss the initial entry, you get another entry. What the market would do is that's your initial entry right over there. Right, market will give you here. You think this is going to be the move that you can take. Market will give it to you, go up higher to go lower. Right, this is just primarily a OTE. This highlight that to be OT is market is gonna manipulate you, stop you out before going lower, right? Eventually, right when it's high to get stopped out, right when we did get stopped out, market offers another entry to the downside with another OTE here, right? Another OTE, SMT right over here, and eventually that SMT delivered. But guess what? I would have had a loss right before that, right? And that's why we took the loss here, right? So if we took this trade, yes, we'd have made profit, but I only like to take one trade a day. And you can see this setup did, work out in our favor for a 4.6 RR. But as I said, man, we want to take one trade a session. But if I see in the future where I take 2 losses in a day, I will probably change to 2 trades per session. Oh my goodness, my hair is clapped. But yeah, as of right now, 1 trade would be good. But yeah, our ownership setup should have definitely been this, not this, right? But although this one, would have had 1 loss, eventually had another win. The reason why the market still went up, you can see how market resisted from going up here was because, the GU was making constant new highs, right? GU was making constant new highs. It was high likely to go up here because the SMT didn't match the GU. Because every time you make a new high, the SMT got a match with the correlated pair, right? This correlated pair didn't match it, so market had to make a new high with SMT. Eventually, then go down lower, right? So that's what happened. We got caught in the, I'm saying, little manipulation. Eventually market expand down lower, hitting a draw on liquidity before going up higher from here forward. But when it went down here, our take profit got missed, so we're done for the day, right? So on the day, our draw on liquidity was initially here, but I didn't see the SMT. I just saw it. So yeah, the slow is protected, so our take profit would have just only been this low. Why not that? Then why not these lows? These are just near it, right? They're relatively equal lows. Since it's the lows protected for the week, we're gonna wait until next week to go these 4 lows, right? Right now we cannot, right? So market, our take profit was just these lows right over here, and eventually you can see for 3.3 RR, we got stopped out here. Beautiful trade. Market did give us another setup. It is what it is. Now, the lesson of the trade is basically this, right? So when the high got soup, when the market gave us a Model 1, our interest should have been this. This candle right over here. This first Model 1 should have been our entry. Why? He first gave us the right Model 1 here, right? First gave us the right Model 1. Although the candle was kind of fat and juicy, when it enter the threshold, market never offered the entry. That's why we took this. But that's what the mistake was, right? Because this market order offers the actual entry for the day. This was our actual initial entry. Like, it should only be an initial entry. Any entry after the initial entry are usually going to be a manipulation. So do not enter other trades after the initial, right? Should always only enter the initial. Same thing as yesterday. There was an initial entry, should have entered out of that. Even for the, even if it was a mistake, should have entered out of that, right? Not the secondary. The secondary got stopped out, right? Although, that trade I would not be taking it because, you obviously broke my rule here, right? But today is a new encountering of a, of a thing that we faced where the market, gave us 2 setups, so we got caught in the manipulation, and our initial entry should have been here. But wondering, well, why did you take this one But why did you take this one? Wasn't the market over here? Why didn't you just short it this down? Why don't you just short this? Why did you short this right over here? Because I thought that okay, the threshold's not gonna get met because the candle was fat, but it made sense for us to just enter out of the candle here because after you did SMT, market is after this big dump all the way down here. Do you really think market doesn't want to do all day push up here before we're going lower? It's not gonna happen. Logically, it's not gonna happen. So the entry here, but our stop loss could have been just to the body of the, of the um honorable one. Why? Because wick does the damage and body does the story. In this case, it would have made sense for us to go to the, put a stop loss over there because market's highlight like retrace all of there because after doing a big ass stuff to the downside here, right? So entry would have been here, stop loss here, take profit here, right? You can see offer the 2RR here. Even with this entry, offer the 2RR. So we should have regardless taken it because when it should take profit, it offers us a 2RR. Eventually, you can see we had a stop loss, and eventually that was the trade that we took. So the lesson of the of the day is psychology was good. I did feel some sort of emotion. I was like, damn, I know I fucked up a little bit. I know I'm cooked because I have 2 entries on a day. It doesn't sound right to me, right? As you guys know, we only usually get 1 setup a week or 2 setups a week. We never get 2 setups in a day. One time I get 2 setups in a day is one in a macro, which is the 138 macro, and one in the AM. Just only get 1 setup. Anything after one is usually the one I'm not gonna, or you don't want to take because you'll be a manipulation, right? And see, throughout the whole week, only have 1 setup, right? Yesterday, the shorting we had was beautiful, right? That's the shorting we had. Although our bias was wrong, now our bias was wrong. Market, even when we were wrong, guess what the market did? It still went down lower, right? So our bias was correct. But the thing is, the problem is that there was no entry there, right? So yesterday, the reason we took a loss because our rule was not there. We took, we expected near continuation when the 5 made the high. This doesn't make sense, right? A 5 a.m. / 9 a.m. candle of the 4-hour time frame is usually a New York reversal candles, right? They're connected to the New York reversal. They usually make the high or low of the day, right? That makes high. If they make the high or low of the day, there's no continuation. That's a reversal, right? So that's why we took this loss, and it made sense. That we made. They also took that loss. That it made sense very much. Today, we didn't take this loss because our initial entry should have been here. Our original setup should have been here, not this, right? So that's why the setup is going to be a manipulation. You can see market gives the initial entry here, was down. Market gives another entry here, some sort of SMT or whatever, right? Eventually get lower. You think, oh shit, it's going to be profit. Boom, get stopped down, go lower. I had like 4 clients complaining about that happening. The only reason that was happening because you missed the initial entry. You should have taken just the initial trade, not the secondary setup, right? Because in this day, there was 2 setups in a day for some reason, right? Which will happen. So if that's gonna happen, stick to that 1 setup, right? So which was this right over here, and it was a beautiful loss. I took a loss. I could have definitely entered on this right over here and shorted down and make profit. But guess what? It's about being disciplined. It's about not breaking you one rule. So if I fuck up one spot, I do not want that other spots to get fucked up over. So just let that one spot get fucked up, fix it, and go on forward. I don't want to, I'm saying, if this spot gets fucked up, I fuck up this spot, fuck up this spot, that's gonna fuck me up even more, right? Psychology wise. If that fucks me up psychology wise, it's gonna, overall do me worse. But it's just we're down currently, 2% on the account, which is fantastic. We're not down like 4%, 6%. Right? We're gonna definitely get this out of drawdown possibly, the next 3 to 2 weeks, right? Possibly, pass that account. I believe so. I'll pass it easily without no pressure. No emotions here. We're gonna pass easily, right? It's just that lessons here, right? The lesson of the day is enter on the initial setup. Do not take a secondary setup on the day, because the secondary setup is gonna be a manipulation. The first setup is the one you're supposed to be entering, right? Always enter the initial setup, not a secondary. The setup happened here. It doesn't matter that another SMT here, right? If there's another SMT, does not matter about SMT. The first entry was right over here, so you're supposed to enter the first entry, right? This is like as well as the FOMO problem. We cannot be FOMO because we thought, okay, shit. So initial entry is not gonna hit my entry point. So let me just take this one, right? This one, looks like it's gonna be another setup here. That's FOMOing in. We cannot FOMO in. We must take the initial entry. But after now, when I think about it, after the chart made this move, now it makes sense for us to take this, this entry here, because after the market doing a big percent downside, is high likely not to go retrace all the way back to the fucking threshold and go lower. He's not gonna do that, right? You could have just entered here and have a tighter stop loss just to the, you know what I'm saying, to the body of the Monroe 1, which made sense the most here. But yeah, this is my trade recap. Thanks for watching. See you guys like, comment, subscribe, share. See you guys later. Peace out. Join the Discord. Links are down below. Peace.